YouTubes. And hi, my name is Mike. I am the computer guy here at East Chicago Public Library. And today we are going over word processing. As I was just telling Janice, we have a community help desk here every Tuesday and Thursday between 1 and 4 here at the main library, which you can bring in your own devices. You have to stay with your device at all times, but it's anything that you need help with every Tuesday and Thursday between 1 and 4 here at the main library. No appointment necessary. First come, first served. Okay, so upcoming classes, we're getting towards the end of the classes. So next Friday is word processing part 2. We get a little bit more advanced. And then, no, actually next Friday we are closed. The library is closed for Thanksgiving. We're closed Thursday and Friday next week. So actually word processing part 2 is in 2 weeks, December 5th. And then spreadsheets part 1 is Friday, December 12th. And then spreadsheets part 2 is Friday, December 19th. And then we're on break for a month. Then we'll come back, and if you guys are interested, what we're doing, we normally took a break and then did all 12 classes again in the springtime at our other location in the evenings. And we will do. And if you want to take these classes again, you're welcome to take them more than once. We'll do all 12 classes again every Tuesday evening starting in April. We'll do that. But in between, we're going to do a new class. We're going to do a class called Media Literacy and Misinformation. And we're going to concentrate more on how to use technology in a healthy way. Because when I first started doing these computer classes, I would teach people like how to sign up for Facebook or how to tag a photo of themselves on the internet. More and more classes I'm teaching people how to put the phone down, right? Because there are algorithms in these phones that are built specifically to keep your eyeballs on the phone. Also, we've got a splintered media landscape, meaning we have a lot of different media sources coming in. They're not all reliable, and it's causing some problems in society. When we were young, I can look around and say that when we were all young, we had what 2, 5, and 7 were when those are the TV channels, and we had news at 5 and 10. That was it. If you didn't get the news at 5 and 10, you read the newspaper in the morning. That was all you had. Now we've got TikTok, we've got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got 24-hour news, right? And there's a lot of issues that happen with that, right? It's affecting our attention span. So after we do a media literacy class, that media literacy class is eligible for librarian continuing education credits. Librarians in the state of Indiana have to have continuing education. That is one of the classes that I have librarians come to those classes sometimes too, to learn about media literacy, which is an important topic for librarians because we have a lot of people asking questions about it. After that class, which is going to be at the end of January, in February, I'm doing a 4-part class called Mindfulness for Modern Times. And what that is we're going to do 4 weeks, 1 hour a week. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all the different ways that this technology is affecting us mentally and affecting our attention spans. And we're going to learn how to practice mindful meditation, which is just a mental exercise that a lot of psychologists and therapists use to help condition yourself to help your concentration, basically is what it is. It's easy. It's really easy. I do it for class or for my staff here. Twice a week, I'll have a mindfulness break, and we just learn how to meditate mindfully for about 12 minutes. It's something that it would be best if you could make into a daily habit. I do it every day, and it helps my concentration a lot. And it helps in a lot of other ways. It helps with depression. It helps with anxiety. And we all, our minds are very similar. We are very much alike as people. Very much alike. We all have the same experience of trying to read a book, and we get to the end of the page, and our mind was wandering off the whole time we were reading, and we got to go back and we got to start over at the top of the page. That's very normal. But having a mindfulness practice a little bit every day where you sit down and you just do a concentration exercise helps your concentration. And I find it a lot easier to read a book, a lot easier to keep myself from grabbing my phone and scrolling, right? So that's what we're going to be doing in February. If you're interested in those classes, you can put an asterisk next to your name in the sign-in sheet, and I'll get you signed up for those classes if you're interested. So that's going to be end of January. We're going to do a 2-hour media literacy and misinformation class, and then after that, we're going to take another 3-week break, and then we'll do 4 weeks of mindfulness for modern times. Okay, but today we're going to be talking about word processing, which is just an application on your computer that helps you complete one specific task, typing a letter. Okay, and that's what it's for. So modern typewriters, like Jack Kerouac is using here, and now they use them on a computer, and there's some very important differences between typewriters and computers. Who took typing in school? Most of us took typing. I took typing in 1984. And that was the first year they changed the name of the class from typing to keyboarding. Started calling it keyboarding in 1984. They were just getting computers in the schools at that time. So we're going to talk a little bit about what's different between the typewriter and the computer. We're also going to talk about alternatives to Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word isn't free. It costs money. They do have a free version now, and I'll show you what that looks like. But there are other free alternatives to Microsoft Word if you want to use your computer like a typewriter, but you don't want to go out and purchase Microsoft Word. We're going to talk about working in the cloud. I'm sure everybody's heard that. If you've been in the internet classes early on, when we did internet classes, we talked a lot about working in the cloud. Our tablets and smartphone class taught that this was a cloud-based device, that the information you're looking at on your phone isn't really on your phone. It's out on the internet. You're using your phone like a window. Well, nowadays, we can use word processing programs that aren't installed on the computer. They're out on the internet. It's very convenient. We'll talk a little bit about that, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then we're going to take a little break. And we're going to, you want to sit here? We can move the computer anywhere you want to sit. No, you're fine. Hi, how you doing? So we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to start using Microsoft Word. Each of us, we're going to start banging around, typing on it a little bit, and then at the end of our computer basics class, remember we learned about applications and managing the files that are created by these applications. Then we're going to save the letter that we type onto our computer. We're going to learn to manage files a little bit. Okay. But before we start, let's talk a little bit about the cloud. There'll be a review for those of you who are in the internet classes. The cloud and the internet is the same thing. They call it the cloud. Why? I don't know, really. But when we're talking about where something is, you don't always know where it's at if you're looking at it on the internet. So I think people just thought, well, it's out there in the clouds someplace. I think that's probably why they call it the cloud. But when you hear somebody talk about the cloud, they're just talking about the internet. Now, we can store computer files in the cloud. We learned in Computer Basics Part 3 that the applications installed on our computer, we can save files out of those applications and manage them on our computer. You can also save those computer files to the cloud. It's just saving a computer file. Instead of being on your computer, it's stored on the internet in an online account that you'll need a username and a password to access. It's safe. It's a secure way of saving files and storing things. But today we're also going to talk about what's called cloud computing. Okay, and that is when you're using a fully functional computer program that's not installed on your computer. You're actually using it through a browser. And if you remember from the browser class, that a browser is the application that you use to look at websites on the internet, right? In the early days, your computer would come with a little piece of software called Solitaire, and you could play a solitaire game on your computer. Nowadays, you can play that solitaire game right on a web page, right on the internet. That is an example of cloud computing, using a fully functional computer program that's not installed on your computer. You're accessing it on a computer out there on the internet through a browser. That's what we call cloud computing. Email is that way too. If you've been using email for a long time, once upon a time, we had a computer program installed on our computer that we would use to type and send and receive emails. Okay? And then we'd have to tell somebody who was talking on the phone in the house, hey, hang up the phone. I need to send and receive my emails. Right? They'd hang up the phone, you'd dial out to the internet, and the computer program on your computer would send the emails out, collect any emails waiting for you from the internet back to your computer. And then when that was done, you could tell the person, you can get back on the phone. I'm done using the internet now. And then you could read your emails and type new ones. And then tell them to get off the phone when you wanted to send more messages out. Okay, that was what it looked like when these applications were installed on our computer. Nowadays, almost all email systems are accessed through a web page. You go to google.com to sign into your Gmail account, right? You go to yahoo.com to sign into Yahoo. So those are fully functional computer programs that send and receive email. You can compose new messages, change your settings. All of that happens through a web page. That is what we mean when we talk about cloud computing. What's nice about that is now you can get to your email anywhere in the world. You can find a computer with the internet, right? You can be vacationing in Canada. You can go to a public library. You can get on their computer and you can pull up your Gmail or your Yahoo Mail. In the old days, if you were on vacation, you were out of luck. All your emails were at home, stuck inside the computer that was sitting on your desk.
How long do you think that's been?
Cloud computing? So in the 90s, when the internet first came out, I was working for a real estate company in Chicago. We knew then it was coming. We already knew cloud computing would be a thing back then. The problem was two things: that the internet wasn't far enough along yet. We didn't have an always-on internet connection, right? Or once we started getting cable internet, then the internet was on all the time. Remember, you didn't have to tell somebody to get off the phone and dial a phone number to get on the internet. The internet was always there for you. Yeah. And the early internet, remember, wasn't very interactive. The early internet was just kind of like you pull up a website and you could look at images and you could read text. That's about all you could do with the early internet. Once the internet became what they called Internet 2.0, where you could exchange information between the websites, that's when things started to really take off. That's when.
When I think about this looking back, you're right, it was just print.
Yeah. No, because The internet was slow, so if you didn't have video, it'd take forever. But technology doubles itself every year, just gets faster and faster. So nowadays we can use a computer program like Microsoft Word that's on a web page, and we'll look at that. I'm going to show you what they call Google Docs. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the modern keyboard layout. Okay. So if you look at this key here, this big yellow key, on the typewriters that used to be called return. Remember the carriage return? In the early days of the typewriter, you type to the end of the line, then you'd have to and then the typewriters got fancy, became electric, and then they had that return key that you just hit the return key, do it for you. Okay, that we don't have to do that anymore. When we get to the end of the line, it just automatically goes down to the next line, which is really handy. So nowadays, this key right here is called the Enter key. Okay, it's a little bit different than the return key. We'll talk about that when we get into Word. But I just wanted to give you an eyeball of what a modern computer keyboard looks like. Along the top, you'll have what they call function keys: F1, F2, F3, F4. And oftentimes, if you look on your keyboard, on the bottom left, you'll have a little key that says FN. Sometimes you'll need to press that function key and hold it down for some special things that these keys can do. Now, you guys are all on laptops, so if you were to look at the top row, you're going to see other little icons that those function keys can do, like turn your volume up and down, okay, change the brightness of the screen, stuff like that. You also have over to the right what we call a 10 key. That is an arrangement of number keys that are arranged in ways that are easy to type numbers without having to look at the keyboard in a little square like that. Why the telephones are backwards, I don't know. Because right, when you look at a telephone keypad like that, it's 1, 2, 3 along the top. But on a computer, it's 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3. It's backwards. 1, 2, 3 is at the bottom. You also have an Enter key over here. It does the same thing as this Enter key here, but it's on the number pad, so it's easy to. 10 key is a thing. They call it 10 key. It's like kind of like typing. Remember in typing class, they taught you to put your fingers, each 4 fingers, and then not look at the keyboard to learn how to type to be really fast at it. You can do the same thing with 10 key. You can put just 3 fingers along the 4, 5, and 6. And it's really easy to be able to enter in a lot of numbers without having to look at your hands. That's why we have that little square 10 key over here to the right.
Like the calculator, you know, the old calculator that you could call in your hand.
Yeah. So do calculators do 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, or do they do it backwards? I got a calculator app on my phone. Let me look. Is it like a phone or is it like that? No, the calculators are like that. Yeah, if I pull up the calculator on my phone, the top row is 7, 8, 9. Yeah, if I had to dial a phone number on this, it's backwards. Weird.
I guess I'm thinking, remember the old calculators before phones came out that used to an accountant or something?
Oh, yeah, with the receipt thing. Yeah. And actually, the number 5 it'll have a little bump on it, so you can feel where the number 5 is. Modern keyboards also have little notches on the F and the J, where your index fingers are supposed to sit, where you learn typing. Like that. We have arrow keys, which we're going to use and learn about. And that in a word processing program, will determine where your cursor is. You can move your cursor around with the arrow keys. You've got a page up and a page down button here. You have a delete button, and you have home and end. End is something computer programmers use. So when you're running a computer program, you could hit the end key to tell it to stop running the program. But that's not something we'd probably use. Over here is a caps lock key. Now that's the same as the typewriter. We have a shift key and we have a caps lock key. Typewriters have those too. And what those are for is for uppercase letters. You hold down the shift key. If you're holding down that shift key while you type a letter, that letter will be uppercase. Otherwise, it's going to be lowercase. If you had a lot of letters that you wanted to type in uppercase, you could hit caps lock, and then that would free you up so you didn't have to be holding down that shift key the whole time. You hit caps lock, and it's like holding down the shift key for you. I remember on typewriters, I think when you hit that caps lock, I think it actually pushed down the shift keys, kind of locked it in place, if I remember correctly. And then we have a tab key. And also, if you look across the numbers on the top of the keyboard here, the shift key will also allow these keys to do more than one thing. So see how the number 4 key has a number 4 and above it has a $sign? Well, if you come up here and you hit the number 4, it'll just be the number 4. But if you're holding down the shift key and you hit the number 4, it'll put in the $sign for it. Because we do not have uppercase numbers. Okay, so that's all I have of the slideshow. Yeah.
The system GUI, what was that?
System GUI keys.
Okay, what's GUI?
GUI. Yeah, that's GUI is what we call a TLA, a 3-letter acronym.
Okay.
And it stands for Graphical User Interface. So remember we talked about that in Computer Basics. We talked about early operating systems were text-based, and the modern operating systems were graphical. They were graphical user interfaces with icons and pointers. That's what GUI stands for. That's in computer speak. That's what we mean when we're talking about that. So remember when I said there's an F function key and the lower? That's like a system key. Sometimes you'll have to hold down the function key if you want some of the functions along the top edge to work. Like open up your keyboard and look at it, and you'll see the function keys along the top. They have F1, F2, F3, but they also have like little pictures of speakers or little pictures of stars or that little microphone. So if you held down the function key, you could change your brightness or change your volume. So that's what they mean by system and GUI keys.
This one actually does a function button, right? FN?
Right, most of them do. And that's giving those top row of function keys extra, just kind of like the number keys. You know, like the number keys, you can do 2 things, but you have to hold down shift. The function keys can do 2 things too, but you have to hold down the function key to make that second row.
Button or alt control?
Control Alt Delete. We don't really use that much anymore.
Yeah, I'm glad because I couldn't do it. You know,
With one hand.
Right.
I wonder if, have you ever used sticky keys?
I didn't like it, so I tried that, but I didn't continue.
Okay, yeah. That might help. And holding down the shift key for 5 seconds will turn on sticky keys. And what that is if you only have one working hand, and it's hard to hold down a shift key and type a letter at the same time. So what the sticky keys will do is you can use one hand to press the shift key and it'll kind of let it stick for a little while. And then you can go up and hit the other keys. It's an accessibility feature. You're just impatient?
An actual 150 up You have two alt buttons and then you have a control alt delete button. What are the two alt buttons there?
The alt button is a system key, so it's nothing you would probably use. It's something that computer people use a little bit more. Control Alt Delete is a good example. Control, if you hold down the three keys, Control and Alt and Delete, all three at the same time, it's kind of like telling the computer, stop what you're doing. And we would use that. Computer people would use that if the computer was experiencing an error of some sort, or locking up, or making it impossible to type or do other things. You could hit Control Alt Delete, and it would kind of restart the entire computer. Doesn't really do that anymore. Nowadays, what it does is it brings up what they call a task manager. So yeah, I mean, we've all been on the computer and everything froze, right? You know, and sometimes the computer freezes up and you can't even, you hit the power button and nothing happens. It just freezes up. Well, that's what Control Alt Delete would have done in the old days. You Control Alt Delete, and that sends a signal to say, just restart the computer. There's something really wrong. Nowadays, if we hit, I'll just do it for you. Control Alt Delete. See, oh, it doesn't even show you on the screen. It brought up on my screen that I'm looking at. You couldn't see it here. It brought up a little thing saying log out, restart, and open task manager. Give you a tiny little menu of things. But like I said, that's probably nothing you guys would use. Control Alt Delete. It's something that computer people
in
use.
my past and did just lost stuff, didn't know how to retrieve it, because I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, never knew what it actually did.
Yeah.
But now that you explain it, I'm like, okay, so I could have retrieved it had I know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's also the Alt key can be used for other things. Probably you'll never use it. Control key can be used for other things, but you will use the control key. The control key, the CTRL, and you'll see just like the shift keys, they're on the bottom right and the bottom left, and those are for shortcuts. There are a lot of different shortcut keys that you can use. And the reason is remember in typing class, they were training you to be part of a typing pool, right? So they wanted you to be fast, right? And they would measure how fast, how many words per minute you could type. I'm sure there are people who still type like that now. To lift your hands off the keyboard and to go for a mouse to do something really slows you down. So they made a lot of the menu options shortcut keys that you could trigger by holding down the control key and a letter at the same time. Did we talk about controls? We didn't talk about cut, copy. When we talked about cut, copy, paste in our last class, I didn't tell you about the shortcut keys. We'll look at those today though, because Control C is copy. Now, when we copied something last time, we went to the menu and we chose copy, or we right-clicked and we chose copy out of the right-click menu. When we were copying and pasting files and folders last week.
Right.
But you can also do all of those things with a shortcut key. And actually, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Because I want to show you some free alternatives. Now, Sam, when you installed, was that OpenOffice that you installed on some of the computers here? Or LibreOffice? OpenOffice. So if you go to the website openoffice.org, you don't have to go. I'm just telling you this. OpenOffice is like a free open source version of Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office is a suite of different applications. Like they have Microsoft Word as a word processor that's included in Microsoft Office. Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet program that's in Microsoft Office. They also have Publisher and a couple of other programs, PowerPoint for making slideshows. So if you were to purchase Microsoft Office, you would get all those different applications, but it's not cheap. It's a couple $100 for the whole Office suite or more. And they even have subscription models where they just charge you, I think it's 15, 20 bucks a year. I don't know. I don't even remember how much it is, but it's not free and it's not even that cheap. So OpenOffice is a free alternative. It will open and edit Microsoft Word documents and Microsoft Excel spreadsheets. And it is not a cloud-based program. It is a program that you download. You go to the website, you download it onto your computer, and you install it. And it's a lot like Microsoft Word. It's got a slide presentation. It's got a spreadsheet. It's got a word processor. It's a free alternative to Microsoft Word and Microsoft Office. But I would recommend that you use a free cloud-based version instead of something downloaded to your computer, because they're really handy. So what I'm going to show you here is Google Docs. If you have a Gmail address, you've already got access to Google Docs and Google Sheets for free. If you log into your Google account, you go to Google and you sign in with your Gmail address, you'll have a little checkerboard up here on the top right that shows you all of the apps that come with your Google account. So a Gmail address gives you email, but it comes with a lot of other stuff for free, including Google Docs and Google Sheets, a calendar, Google Drive, which is cloud storage. Okay, that's where you would go and you could upload files from your computer or your phone up to Google Drive. And that is where you could store files so you can get to them anywhere in the world. You can get to the internet. They call it Google Drive because they want you to think of it kind of like the little flash drives, little thumb drives. It does the same thing as a flash drive, but instead of being a physical thing, it's in your Google account as you're signed in. Okay. Google owns YouTube. So you get your own YouTube account with a Gmail address. You get your own photo storage and editing and Google Maps. There's lots of stuff that comes for free with your Google account. But what we're going to look at now is Google Docs.
Can I ask you a
Sure.
question about you said the photos?
Yeah.
So that's photos that you have in your phone photos that goes to that?
Yeah.
Oh.
It may not be set up if you never opened the app on your phone, but if you have a Google phone, a phone that uses the Android operating system, not an iPhone, basically, then you have an app on your phone called Google Photos. If you open it, it'll ask you, hey, do you want to back up the photos you take with the phone to your online Google Photos account?
Okay.
Right. And that's handy because then if you say yes, then every picture you take automatically gets copied up to your Google account. So if you lose your phone, you haven't lost your photos. You know, your photos are all in your Google account. Also, Google Photos, if you go into the menu, when you take a picture with your phone, it does store that photo on the device and makes a duplicate copy up in Google Photos. But what happens especially if you take video a lot, you're going to run out of space on your phone. And your phone's going to start going, you're running low on memory because you're clogged up with a bunch of photos. So in Google Photos, you can go to the menu and say free up space. And it'll say, okay, well, you've successfully got all of these photos and videos in your Google account. Do you want me to delete the ones that are on the phone? And you just go to the menu, it says free up space. And Google Photos looks what's on your phone, looks what's in the cloud, what's backed up safely, and says, okay, well, we can remove what you have backed up safely so you don't lose anything. And you just hit remove, and it cleans up all that space on your phone for more pictures. When you open Google Photos, you'll still see the same photos you saw before. The difference is there will no longer be a copy on the phone, though. The copy you're looking at is the one that is online, is what you're looking at.
They can put your folders, right?
Well, in Google Photos, they kind of did away with folders. What they do now is you can make albums. It kind of works like a photo, like a folder, but it made more sense to think of it as a photo album. And since they're online, you can share those photos with other people. You can say, you can go to a photo album, for example, and hit share, and you can put in the person's email address, and they'll get a link to your photo album that's on the internet. So we've probably all had this problem as well. If you try to email somebody a lot of pictures, it doesn't take too long before the email gets too big. And your email won't send if it's too big. There's a limit. There's a size limit on emails, right? I think I would say that there's probably a size limit of like 25 megabytes per second. Well, I can just ask. What is the size limit for attachments in Gmail?
The attachment size limit in Gmail is 25 megabytes for outgoing emails. If a file exceeds this, Gmail uploads it to Google Drive and sends a link. The limit.
Oh, that's interesting. So an email can only be 25 megabytes. And now we know how big that is from our computer basics class. Remember, like one photo is about 1 megabyte. So that means if you have more than 25 photos attached to an email, it probably won't go through. The nice thing about Google Photos is you can create a photo album on the internet, and then when you share it with somebody, they're only getting a link to the photo album that's on the internet. It's not actually inside the email, so it doesn't take up space. So you can create a photo album with 200 pictures and email it to 50 people, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's pretty handy. So if you look up at the top, Google Docs is just a web page, docs.google.com. And you can also get to it by, you can type it in, docs.google.com, and it'll take you right to Google Docs. Or you can go to this little checkerboard when you're logged into your Gmail account and open up Docs here. But what I want to show you is I want to show you Microsoft Word. This is Microsoft Word. When you open up Microsoft Word, and we're going to see this after the break, we're going to fire it up ourselves. It asks you if you want to create a blank document or if you want to start with a template. Templates are documents that are already kind of created and formatted in a way that it's sometimes easier to start with a pre-formatted template and just change the information in it instead of starting from scratch. So that's what templates are. And you see how the templates have text in them? If you're to read it, it's gobbledygook. I think it's like random Latin words because it's meant for you to change the information. I'll show you really quick. So if I open this resume template, oh, it knows who I am. See, it kind of walks you through objectives, education, and it wants you to click in here and type over the information. That's what a template is. But I'm going to get back to home. And so when you open up Microsoft Word, this is what it looks like. Do you want a blank document or do you want to start with a template? Google Docs looks very similar. Do you want to start with a blank document or would you like to start with a template? And there are, if you click on Template Gallery, there's a lot of other templates in there. You can even search for templates on the internet, for resumes, for business letters, for all sorts of stuff. Along the bottom down here are things that I've recently opened or recently created. So like the outline for this class is here. What's nice about being in the cloud is I can have that outline to the class that I'm doing today right here on my phone. It's the same Google Drive document. It's on the internet, right? So that document is the same document I'm looking at on my phone here, just to kind of keep me on track for class so I don't forget anything. And I'm going to choose blank document. And fox jumped over the lazy dog's back. Okay, this is Google Docs. When I start typing, you'll notice up here, it says saving right up here. As I type, if I were to type in some letters, up here it'll say saving, and then it says save to drive. Google Docs saves as you go. You don't have to go file save to save the file you're working on. This file will automatically save. Right up here where it says untitled document, this is where you can name it. If you click here, what it'll do is if you already have information in the document, it'll take the first sentence and make that your file name. But I'm going to change this file name to class example. Okay, so now I have on the internet at this location a document named class example that I started to type in. Okay. You'll notice along the top we have what we call a toolbar, and we also have these drop-down menus. We have a file menu, an edit menu, and a view menu. These drop-down menus are where all of your options are. Everything is going to be in these drop-down menus. The toolbar along the top, that is not everything. That is just the things that are most commonly used to make it quicker and easier for you to go up there. So for example, changing the size of text or changing bold, italic, and underline. Formatting text is there's buttons right here. Changing the font, hitting print. So there's a button right here that says print. You can always go to the file menu and choose print, but they give you a toolbar button to make it quicker and easier if you wanted to print out this document. Okay. You'll also notice if I click on the file menu and go down here to print, see there's a little picture of a printer next to the word print. That is showing you what the toolbar button looks like for print. That's on the left. On the right, see where it says Control P? That is the shortcut key for print. So if you drop down a menu and you see a little picture, well, that means you can have a toolbar button up in your toolbar that does the same thing as clicking on the menu option. And if you see like Control O for open or Control P for print, that means that there's also a shortcut key that'll do the same thing. So to print this out, there's 3 ways you can do it. Go to the file menu and choose print. You can click on the picture in the toolbar that's a printer to print, or you can hit Control P on your keyboard. All 3 of those things do the same thing. Okay. And it's interesting because these menu options are kind of categorized. So under the file menu, these are all the options that you do to a file that is created by the application. Under the edit menu are a bunch of editing tools like cut, copy, paste. And if you notice, there's shortcut keys for cut, copy, paste. See where a cut and copy is grayed out? You can't see it. It's not available right now because we don't have anything selected to make a copy of. So you remember last week we had to click on a file to select it to make a copy of it? You left early. Yeah, you missed the cut, copy, paste. So if I were to come down here and select, and we're going to do this ourselves after the break. If I were to select text here, now when I go up to my edit menu, now these are no longer grayed out because since I have, let me make this a little bigger for us to see. Since I have text selected, now cut and copy and paste are all 3. They're not grayed out anymore. They're available to me. There is a short key to make all websites bigger and smaller. Hold the Control key down. Plus makes the website bigger. Minus makes it smaller. Control 0 makes it 100% its normal size. So all I did was hit Control plus a couple of times to make, because we're just looking at a website here, right? So I just hit Control plus a couple of times to make the website look bigger on the screen. That's handy, right? That is handy. You know what else? You also have that website in this menu of your browser. When you go up to your, see this zoom here? You can hit plus and minus to make it bigger and smaller. But yeah, so I did a Control plus and Control minus. All right.
I tried, but it didn't work because the picture was, the window was white. And then I put like a 75 or 85%. Is it still was white. I didn't see the corners what I needed to see. I was all short. I didn't know how to.
But so she have went to her bar and did what you showed us in the basic, on that basic class and shortened up the screen? Could she have done that?
I don't understand.
Remember when you were showing us how we can go to the space bar and if we put the little arrow there, it'll bring our,
I know what you're talking. It didn't help. I tried.
it didn't help.
Sometimes it just happened, and I don't know what I did
Oh, that's right. That's right. I do
to
remember that.
get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Sometimes it really just they go bumpy for a few minutes or longer.
They are complicated machines. They are.
Yeah.
So if you look, we have these menu options, cut, copy, paste. They're telling you, well, hey, there's a toolbar button for cut. Copy. It looks like 2 copies of a piece of paper, and there's a toolbar button for paste. It looks like a clipboard. Because remember, we talked about the clipboard. It's something you don't see the clipboard. When you copy something, the computer makes a copy of it and stores it on the clipboard. Something you cannot see. So anytime you go tell the computer, I want to paste something, it says, okay, what's on the clipboard? Paste that. And having internet. Okay, let's get back to selecting text. So
Tabs. We had 4 tabs open and you could shrink the tab, the screen for the tabs. That's what I was trying to say.
yeah.
But you were showing us that we could put the arrow on the side or on the top and it could pull those tabs down. That's what I was asking. Could she have done that to make her screen smaller that?
It's a laptop. Bring it in. We'll take a look. We'll try and recreate the browser. So back to the menu here. Cut, copy, paste. We also have shortcut keys. Control X for cut, Control C for copy, Control V for paste. Why do you think it's Control V? Control X for cut kind of makes sense. Control C for copy kind of makes sense. But if you look at your keyboard, X, C, and V are all right next to each other. That's why. Makes it easy. Hey, Sam, would you do me a favor? I keep losing my Wi-Fi connection in here for some reason. I don't want you to send a ticket. Check in the server room and see if we've got a long enough Ethernet cable for me to just plug straight into the network and not use Wi-Fi. Might be a more reliable connection. If you look on your keyboard, along the bottom left, you have, right next to the Z, you have X, C, and V all in a row.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, so if you used your little finger to hold down the control key, you could use 2 fingers to go. Makes it really easy to use with one hand. That's why it's down there like that. And that's why they made the paste a Control V. Because if they made a Control P for paste, well, the P is on the very other end of the keyboard, then you'd have to switch your hand. It'd be a pain. So somebody was thinking when they came up with that. Yeah, well, okay, we're back. Okay, so a lot of different applications on your computer utilize these drop-down menus for all of the options. And then they have a toolbar that's customizable for the most commonly used things to make it so you don't have to hunt for it in a menu. Microsoft Word, on the other hand, they did away with the drop-down menus. So we'll take a look at what that looks like. So if I opened a blank document in Microsoft Word here, what look to be drop-down menus up here are not drop-down menus. Like if I come up here and I click View, it changes my toolbar. It doesn't drop down a menu. This is what Microsoft calls a ribbon interface. Okay. I'm not particularly fond of the idea of them removing the drop-down menus, but it is what it is. Oh, that's a nice long one.
Yeah.
Okay, great. It's over there.
Yep.
And it's going to be, excuse me briefly while I do a quick network switch over. Oh, where did this guy come from?
She was sitting in there.
Okay, and I'm on. Great. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. So, so that is really the big difference between the new versions of Microsoft Office is they did away with the drop-down menus. And they give you a ribbon toolbar. Then it kind of looks like you still have those menu options, but that's just changing the toolbar you're looking at. So as we go forward and work today, I might tell you to go up to change the toolbar to like the view toolbar. But let's go back before we do that, and we're going to take a break here in a minute, but I want to show you another really nice feature about Google Docs. We're going to be working in Microsoft Word today. That's going to be the word processor we're going to be working with. But if you were to use Google Docs as your word processor, and also if you're using a computer lab computer here, please use Google Docs. The reason is because these computers, when you log in, they give you an hour of time. Okay, you can get more time than that. You'll get a little notice on these lab computers that your hour's almost up. If you need more time, just tell the person they'll give you more time. If you don't pay attention to that, after an hour, the computer restarts itself and flushes all the data from the computer. So the next person to use the computer doesn't see your work. It's a security thing. We don't want anybody to see anybody else's stuff. So I've had people sit down in the lab for an hour, work on a resume, not pay attention to the warning, and then when that computer restarts, they lose all their stuff. And they're upset, understandably so, because they worked for like an hour, right? And they put in a lot of work and it's all gone. So I tell people in the lab, go to Google Docs. It's on the internet. If that computer restarts, when it comes back, log back into Google Docs, and there you are, exactly where you left off. What else is nice is you no longer have to worry about, you know, if you were in Microsoft Word and typing up, like working on a book at home, and then you wanted to come to the library and work over here, you'd have to put it on a flash drive
Right.
and walk it over here and put it in over here. Well, if you're using Google Docs, well, you don't have to bring anything at all. You could just show up at the library, log in, and just continue where you left off. Yeah.
Working on something for a while, you open an hour and a thing will cut off completely. And when you get back on the computer, you just go directly to Google Docs.
Yeah. Docs.google.com. It'll have you log in with your Gmail address, and then it'll show you the most recent things you worked on.
So what I was gonna say to her doing that, the Google Docs, when you said when they're running out of time, so you have to ask for extra time, or you can't just swipe your card again and put on more time?
No, because you're already logged in.
Right.
I think, Sam, when it pops up, does it give the patrons the ability to give them another 10 minutes or something like that?
No, well, I understand. Have to go back to the circulation.
Yeah, so just go to the circulation desk and tell them you want a little bit more time, and they'll just throw you on another hour.
Maybe it changed when I'm in Hampton.
It allows you to click for more in Hammond? Okay. Not sure what system they have. Yeah, we have a whole software thing to manage public computers. That's what gives you the ability to swipe it's actually pretty complicated. If you want to use a computer here, you gotta scan your library card. Well, the computer's got to go into a database, and it's got to make sure you're an actual library card holder. And then printing's it's a big thing. So, if you got the reason they limit you to an hour is because a lot of times computer labs are busy and people are waiting for computers. So if there's a line of people waiting, then they might tell you, no, I'm sorry, there's somebody else needs to use the computer. I don't think that really happens here. I've seen other libraries where that happens, but here it's not that busy. There's other computers to use. You can tell them, can you just give me 3 hours? I ain't gonna worry about it. And they'll just give you 3 hours.
Okay, that's my next.
Yeah, they'll give you a lot.
Okay.
It's not, but like I've been to like the Harold Washington Library, right? Oh, their computer lab is so busy that they limit you to an hour because there's a line of people waiting to use the computer. So that's why there's a timer on it. Because try and get a person off the computer without a timer, it's not easy. That's why we have them set to shut off like 5 till close or 10 minutes to close. Because it's hard sometimes it's hard prying the patrons off. They're working on stuff. So the last thing I want to show you about Google Docs before we take a break is in the old days and with Microsoft Word. So Word, you type a letter and you save it as a file, right? If you wanted to send that to somebody, you would attach it to an email and send it to them. But this is a web page, right? The Word document or the Google Docs document you're working on isn't its own file. It's just a website. It's this website. They give it this huge randomly generated number. That's the actual document you're working on. There's no actual individual file. So what they do is if you want somebody else to be able to use it, you can hit share. And you can share this document with somebody else. So when you create a document, nobody else can see it but you. You have to be logged into your Gmail account to view the document. But if you wanted somebody else to like collaborate on the document, you could put in their email address. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you what this looks like. I'm going to share this with my personal Google account. Right now, as you can tell, I'm logged into my work account. And Sam has got access to the file because he's an administrator here. So he has access to everything I make here. But when you share this with somebody else, you can tell them if you want them to be able to edit the document. You might not want them to edit the document. So like I might create like a flyer for a children's program and share it with the people over there, but it's a completed flyer. I don't want them to edit it. I can just share it with them view only. Or if I wanted them to be able to comment on it, I can make them a commenter. But when I choose editor and I can put a message in here and I hit send, well, what this does is, oh, hey, ashbach@gmail.com is external to East Chicago Public Library. Are you sure you want to share this with? And I say share anyway. So my personal Gmail now gets an email that, hey, this person shared this document with you. I'll show you what this looks like. So I open up the document on my phone because it's on the internet, right? And if you notice, it shows you right here that one person is viewing the document. Now I can edit it myself. And see what it does is it shows a second editor because we're looking at the same document. I'm looking at this document through. So if I were to type something in here, this is something I've typed from my phone. I put it in my phone. Since the document exists in one place, out on the internet. Okay. I know I have the speaker. You know how you can hit the speaker on your phone to have it. So that's an also pretty neat thing, right? Because what if I wanted to just dictate a document and not type it all in? Well, I could open it on my phone. I could hit that microphone and everything I say just gets automatically typed, period.
Does anyone else have this? When you text, every time you do a word, you click space, you hear it? They tell you what it is. So what happens when someone you don't want all that? You don't want
That little.
not to click it. When you type a word, I went to the store. It says every word you type, it says I went space to when it does that. And I've seen them gone to settings.
On your phone?
On my phone, it says, why does that do that? So in other words, when you have your phone off, like when they say, cut your phones off, you do that. But yet if I want, what if you want to just text someone?
That might be an accessibility setting for people who are low vision. That might be a setting you can turn on. Mine doesn't do that. Yeah, that's probably what that is. Yeah, because they call that a screen reader.
Yeah.
So if you were blind or low vision, then it kind of tells you what it's doing. Yeah, yeah. Does your phone do that right now?
Yeah.
See me after class. We're gonna show you how to shut that off. It's pretty easy to shut off. Okay. And this saves as it goes, right? It's a web page in one place. So if you have multiple collaborators, you will see many people up at the top, and they can all type in. You can see everybody working on the document all at the same time. You think to yourself, well, wait a minute. What if somebody that I shared this with makes a bunch of mistakes that I don't like? If it saves it as it goes, what can I do? Well, Google Docs keeps a history of all changes. It's called a version history, and it will allow you to roll back to an earlier version of a document. If somebody or you made a change you didn't like, you could roll back to an earlier version. And you do that from the file menu and go to version history down here. And you can choose see version history. And sometimes this is a new document, so it's not going to have a lot of history. It was only 2 things we did today. But I have documents that I use for work that I share with other people that we've been editing, like reporting for like reporting for the board of directors and stuff, that we've edited multiple times over many years. And I can roll back to much earlier versions of Google Docs. So anyway, Google Docs is a very handy, free word processor. But what we're going to do is we're going to start working in Microsoft Word. Yeah, question?
My next question. Can I exercise my writing?
You're typing?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are lots of free websites out there that will help get your typing skills in order.
But not this one?
Not really. The websites are a little bit better because what they do nowadays is they have like games, right? you'll see letters drop and you'll have to like blow up the letters by typing. So it's like an online typing tutors. And there's lots of different websites. You go to Google and type in typing tutorial, typing tutors. There's a bunch of different free websites that are really fun, kind of handy to use to help you with your typing. I don't really use them. I've
Of course. But I do.
Yeah, but I've had other patrons that I've helped get on the websites, and they've found it wasn't too hard. They're all, if you don't like one, move to another one, see which one you like, but they're not that hard. So let's take a break, have some coffee, water, and a snack if you'd like, and we'll come back here in 10 minutes. And in the meantime, Sam, go around and to all the computers and open up a blank document in Word for everybody. To save them from having to do that after break. And then when we come back, we will start banging around in our word processor.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's on that report.
I can't have it. I used to see little kids tearing into the flames out and then licking their finger. Want to try that one? What's that? What do you think? No, I don't. I'll regret it. Help you? Good job.
I'll come to first class and do the second.
Oh, yeah. I don't play. I don't play with that. I only do it. You want to have them? No.
No, that's the phone.
Oh, I thought it was a phone. Musically. No, I can't handle it. Usually we don't know. No, I have to be starving. They do it with trade.
Mm-mm.
But it's nothing like this.
Oh,
Bag of
credit.
potatoes. Just give me a potato. Oh, yeah.
Sure. Oh, well, I'll have to bring it in there.
Oh, God.
They had a picture of, from the last, 20,
They couldn't.
I forget when they had it.
Oh.
Wasn't that this summer?
July.
Was that this summer or last summer? Last year.
It was more last,
Was 2024? That was this year. It was a very small group,
It wasn't. Yeah.
very small.
It wasn't. One day I had to pick up.
I wouldn't have. Oh, and then you have one? I'm gonna. We had a dinner. What?
And go from, tell them to stand, that means exercises.
Oh, no, that I remember. But I remember your sister. Oh. And he did have to do some
Yeah,
dances.
so everybody.
Because she got right back into her old high school. Yeah, it was starting
Yeah.
modern dance.
That was-
I know, that's Debbie.
Yeah, well, Rosa, Rosa,
Yeah, Iris.
yeah,
Iris knows
went
that.
down.
Okay, she went to school now.
She actually did that. She was a teacher.
She's a professor.
She was
I guess I can. Yeah, she's like. She graduated after me. She's here younger than us. She graduated with my brother.
Oh, okay, I thought she was good for you.
But, so those small surprised. But a lot of those are the younger ones.
I noticed that.
Younger ones. I didn't know any of them.
I read my students. Yeah.
I mean,
I said, I'm able. And I didn't know I had. Yeah, one of them.
That's Josephine. Josephine. She's a teacher. She was a teacher. She's the one that had a baby when her oldest was graduating from high school. Real, and that's not proof. That's not proof. That's facts. I told her, what is wrong? She said, oh,
To my.
you're talking 18 years, 17, 18 years. She was surprised. I guess. Are you serious? The sweat?
I think my girlfriend, she was over. No, I got to the home. High school. State high school. And I thought that, oh my God, I don't say I'm there, they could do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. Well, you gotta start all over again. That's, I mean. You start from the first. Is this what you want to do? Okay. Sure. What's up with that?
You know, your husband, baby daddy. He didn't have baby daddy. He was pregnant, he got married. No, he didn't have to. That's your choice. For the most part. For the most part. But I mean, you could be right. I mean, well, you could be trying out. That's in those days. In those days, you didn't go to the big sale. That's right around. Do that. He didn't do that. You never take a process. In the process, she had one who was a ninth grader. She couldn't do it. They usually could do it. In those days. I know that. So, maybe she came back. Maybe she better change. No, Lucky Todd. I'm remembering his name. Lucky Todd. That was baby dad. 14 years old. You're talking 14 years old. I don't remember. So I came in late. You had the original Betsy, CJ, Robert, Debbie, your sister, Sylvia. They got those big awards. Remember, they got those medallions. So small. Because they were ready for years. Like, remember that whole ceremony? She applied it. Betsy, CJ, Upshaw. I remember they got real nice medallions for 4 years. I came in as a junior. Huh? Yeah, I remember. Oh, good. And then that's how we put together a story. Because I was an 18 children. Oh, you were. You know what it does? Oh, yeah. I hope the way they got it's Carolyn. She was hot to me. It's either that I'm going to. Good for her. Good for her. But when you say medallion, what I guess. Everyone, because I came in the same time. So as a freshman? Yeah. Okay. Well, then you should have gotten a medallion. If you went, did you go to that year? Maybe I did. Maybe you didn't. But your sister should have taken it back home. In fact, who was it him? I want to bring up a picture. I'm going to have to change this. I didn't want to have to do that. So. I have a picture. Okay. All right, on with the that's fine. Oh, yeah. Oh, I remember they want to do it at
Yeah, okay, great. Did everybody sign in? Did everybody need it?
No.
You didn't sign it? You need to sign it?
No, it's no good.
Anybody else need to sign in? Okay. You want to be called about the other class? The ones in January, February.
Oh,
Yeah, that's Mark that. Anybody not want to be contacted?
Oh.
What?
Yeah, I want to talk.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Same. Okay. Well, then I'll just call everybody about that class. All right. So everybody's got, everybody looking at this? Everybody's got a blank page up in Microsoft Word? Okay. You can just leave it there. We'll get it. Leave it next to you. That's fine. I think everybody else signed in, so we're all good. And I'll just take that list and I'll put that list in January, and Yvonne will call everybody in January. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start typing, and we're going to learn how to get around Microsoft Word. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're in dark mode.
Yeah.
I just hit the space bar and then asked me to log in.
And that's probably all I can do.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam, do me a favor. Yeah.
Going back.
She's in dark mode.
That's my first time somewhere.
Fix that or give her another computer. That would be easier.
No, 10 years back.
Under the file menu, there will be Office theme. Maybe not under it's, oh, it's probably under options. Yeah. So if you go to the file menu down to options, under the general tab, you'll see Office theme. You can change that to black and white. Change it to white. So we're all looking at it. Okay. All right. Good. Thank you.
So go to the options and then do what?
Oh, I was just telling Sam what to do so he could get her out of dark mode. She was in dark mode. All right. So we're going to start typing here. But before we do that, I'm going to change the view of what I'm working on to be larger to make it easier for you guys to see. If you want what you're typing to look bigger, you can do this with me. But we needed to go up to the view toolbar up at the top. So we click on the word view up here, you're going to notice that this toolbar changes, right? And then there's a big zoom button here. Now the zoom button is not going to make what you type print out larger. It's just going to make your workspace bigger and easy to see. So what I do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to hit zoom, and it's going to say, okay, do you want to zoom it to 200%, 75%, or a specific percent you can just type in? I'm going to change this percent to 150%. 200 is too big. But if you can hit these little arrows or type in 150 and hit OK, you'll see that it just makes the workspace larger. Oh, look at that. Look, zooming made easier. You can do the control plus and minus now on Word, that's cool. So we're going to type in the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog's back. Now the first thing you'll probably notice, you don't have to capitalize the first letter. Microsoft Word is going to do some things for you automatically. We're used to, on a typewriter, holding down the shift key to start the letter, the word the, to start with a capital T, to start the sentence with a capital letter. But Microsoft Word is smart enough to know that it's the first word in the sentence, and it will automatically capitalize it for you. So you don't have to hold down the shift key. Just type in, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog's back, just like you see up on the screen here, and then hit a period at the end.
So can you say that again?
It-
Don't have on the screen.
Now, there is a backspace button on your keyboard, and what that will do is that will delete, it'll allow you to go backwards and delete something that you typed in that was wrong.
Now you said,
Can you see it?
yeah,
The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog's back.
but I thought you said something about we ain't got a shift to make it happen.
Right. So when I type in the word the, I did not have to capitalize the letter T. It did it for me automatically.
See, man, did. Wait, let me see. I feel so.
Oh, you might have to watch. When I type in the letter the, when I hit the space bar to move to the next word, oh, it did it the first time, and then I erased it, so it thought I didn't want it to do that.
Yeah, you press it. Don't press it. Now you should be.
If you do need to hold down the shift key, go ahead, hold down the shift key and type in your letter T. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog's back. And if you get stuck, Sam will help you. Raise your hand. The reason we use this phrase, does anybody know why?
I know.
Because it uses every letter of the alphabet. I think they used this just to make sure that all the keys were working.
Oh, I'm looking up there.
So I'm gonna start typing it again just to see what it does. Because if I go THE after the period and I hit the space bar, see what it did? It automatically capitalized that letter T. I didn't have to do it. It saw the period. It understood there was a new sentence coming. And when I typed in lowercase THE and hit the space bar, it automatically capitalized the letter T for me.
Mine did not automatically capitalize it.
After the period?
After the period, it didn't.
Huh.
It it's still not.
Oh,
going.
mine did.
And I'm hitting the space
Mine
bar.
did.
And I'm hitting the space bar. So it's not-
Well, so the version of Microsoft Word that we're using today is the subscription version that automatically updates itself. So you guys might have a slightly older version than mine. But for the most part, that shouldn't make much difference.
This is gonna make me wanna learn how to type again,
Yeah.
So, soft again.
Oh.
I did want to do that,
With AI, the
Because now you have it all.
the ability to talk to it and have it type in what you say is so much better now than it's so good. That
You know, there was a
Spell
time
check and
I
all that
was
now
going
too, right?
back. They would train you to learn how to type with one hand, but you had to work with a computer
yeah.
in order to do it.
Yeah.
I guess they have all that accessibility stuff.
Because-
Anyway. I was-
Yeah, there's a lot more accessibility stuff on a computer than a typewriter.
Emphatically, that's
I thought I learned how to do it one time, then I just got like, yeah.
You know, I'm going to show them a grammar check and spell check.
I was looking at my grammar, I'm like, that's right, but when I tried to do which just the type in the capital T, which just automatically doing it, at the period, it didn't do it, but what it did say was that I can do back period then. That's why I was asking Sam, why does it have two lines under the word back? Because it's actually telling you to do that, right? Yes. I think that's what's, but. So you think it would have corrected my grammar first, right? It did because we don't have that on there yet, right? We actually have to put the grammar in,
No, I'll show you.
grammar.
We'll get there.
You know, it says Dell command update, don't do it, if you don't hit that, just don't do it.
Oh, you can just ignore it or close it. It's fine.
Just making me listen. How do I move that, line away from the dot and put it on the next sentence? I want to start another sentence to see if I can type it over,
Lazy dog.
and I got the line in the. Understand
Is
what
there
I'm
up and down
this.
arrow key?
I want to go right here and make another press line. Okay, it's up on my screen, right? I think. I want to type the same line right under that one. I don't want that type that line blinking. I want to move that blinking line here. So I can start typing.
Okay, I'll show you that. I'll show you that. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Because that is called your cursor.
Right, cursor.
That's called your cursor. So is everybody done with the sentence?
Yeah,
No, we're still.
Both of them or
Okay.
just one?
well, Fox jumped over, the lazy dog back.
I rewrote it because I want to show you something. You don't have to type it again,
Oh, well,
but it's okay if you do. But I want to show you what word wrap looks like. Because on the typewriters, when we got to the end, so there's another thing that I'm not seeing on my screen, but if you still have this view toolbar up, it's called a ruler. And it's something that we used to see, and there's a little check mark right here. On the view toolbar, if it's already checked, you can leave it checked. Mine's not for some reason. I'm going to check it. And what it does is it brings up the ruler along the top here. And we had that ruler on the typewriters too, right? And what we did is we set our margins, right? The margins, they wanted you to have a 1-inch margin on each side. So you set the margins on your typewriter, and then when you were typing and you got to that margin line, that's when it rang that bell. Ding! And it was telling you, hey, you hit the margin, you hit your 1-inch margin. Then you had to, right? So now what I'm about to do, to see up here, it shows you where these margins are, just like a typewriter. So it's showing you the paper still goes for another inch. It's 8.5 by 11 paper, but the margin here is set to the middle between 6 and 7 there.
Right.
So when I typed in the sentence again, when I type in the word D for dog, it automatically, see what it did? It automatically shot down to the next line. I'll do that again. I'll show you what it looks like. So I get lazy space, and then I hit the word D, the letter D, and it said, okay, well, I'm out of space. So it automatically wrapped. They call that word wrapping. D-O-G.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh,
we had a question about moving your cursor around. Okay. So we talked about this a little bit in computer basics. The mouse pointer changes from this arrow to this line here. Anytime you're working with text, it's showing you that now that the mouse pointer looks like this up and down little T thing, anywhere you click, it's going to put your cursor. They make it up and down like that because sometimes you need to get the cursor in between two letters, right? So what they want you to do is if I wanted to go like, see where it says dog's back on the second line? I forgot the apostrophe, right? So I'd have to click with my mouse right between G and S, and it's a lot easier to do with this little line here. So if I click right between the G and the S, see now my cursor is blinking between the G and the S, and now I can hit that apostrophe. Dog's back.
okay.
So what you wanted to do is you wanted to move your cursor to the end. Now, if I start typing here at the end, it's just going to continue where the line is. But if I hit the enter key, the enter key brings the cursor down to the next line. So we still have, it's not called return anymore. It's called enter. And the reason is it does something different on a computer than a typewriter. The return key brought you back to the beginning or the next line, but you don't have to do that because you can keep typing, right? So why would you hit that key if you want to create a new paragraph? So what the enter key is now is it's what we call a paragraph break. So when you're typing a paragraph, even if it's like a 3 or 4 line paragraph, just keep typing. It's just going to wrap around for you automatically. And even if you have a really long word, it'll like if I just type L-A-Z-Z-Z, see when I hit the third Z and it won't fit. See how it pulled the whole word down to the second line? So it'll just keep wrapping the text as I type. If I just type, see how it just wraps it, type, just wraps it around automatically for me. It's not until I want to change, to start a new paragraph, do I hit that enter key, and then it brings the cursor down to the next line. Why do we need a paragraph break? Next week, we're going to start formatting the text. And there are paragraph formatting that we can do. So we can choose a paragraph and we can indent one paragraph different than another. You know what indentation is? Remember you had to indent? You'd have to hit the tab key, give yourself an indentation. Nowadays, what we do is we just type and then we go and we select the paragraph later and we format the indentions how we want it. And we're going to do that next week. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to kind of learn how to get around and move our cursor around and get used to the keyboard and stuff. Next week, we're going to sit down with a document that I've already typed for you. And then we're going to specifically work on formatting next week. So we're going to format text, make it bold, or not next week, the week after. I'm sorry. We're closed next week, 2 weeks. Right. So, yeah, you weren't here. I don't think you were here yet. So, right, next Friday we're closed. The library's closed Thursday and Friday next week for Thanksgiving. So part 2 of this class is going to be 2 weeks from today. Huh? I didn't hear you. December 5th. Yeah. And Yvonne will call you to remind you a couple of day before class.
I'm sorry, what is her extension number?
15.
15, okay.
15.
And she's calling, I have English classes and I cannot answer.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, that's why I have to call her.
Okay.
Do you have English classes?
We have English as a second language classes at our other location. Yeah. We don't, the library doesn't run them. They're done by a company called Neo, who also does adult education for like GEDs and stuff. We just donate the room and they use our computers and we help them. But they're their own company. They do a good job. You happy over there? Good. Yeah, they do a good job. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about moving the cursor around and selecting text. Now, I showed you you can put your cursor where you want it simply by clicking, right? So if I wanted to delete the word fox, and let's do this together. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys to see. So I want you to take your mouse and I want you to click right at the end of the word fox. What we're going to do is we're going to use the backspace key to delete the word fox, and we're going to replace it with the word rabbit. So at the end of the word fox, the backspace key on the keyboard will move that cursor back and delete the letters that are behind the cursor. I'll show you that again. Backspace, backspace, backspace. And after you type that in, I want you to type in the word rabbit. Change it to the quick brown rabbit jumped over the lazy dog's back. Okay. And now I'm going to show you a very, very important and useful shortcut key called undo. Undo. Let's wait for Eugenia to get caught up. And I'm sure we've all done this. You do something and something happens and you're not quite sure how it happened or what you did. That's common. Well, we have a toolbar button called undo. It's at the very top, and it looks like this this arrow going backwards here. Top left, a little blue arrow, and if you float your mouse over it, and this works with all of the toolbar buttons, by the way. If you float your mouse pointer over it, it'll tell you what the toolbar button is, and it'll show you if there's a shortcut key to do the same thing. So when I float my mouse over that blue arrow up here, it says undo typing, and then it says Control plus Z is the shortcut key for it. So what I did was I typed in the word rabbit. If I hold down the Control key and press Z, it undoes what I typed. Now, if I hit Control Z again, it undoes what I deleted.
So you put the F back on what it.
So you have to highlight the word first.
No, just Control Z will undo what you did. Control Z will undo the last thing you did. But the thing is you could keep hitting Control Z over and over and over again, and it'll undo everything you've done back to the very beginning of typing the document. Now, if you notice, so if I just keep hitting Control Z, it just goes back in time. Right? This is all the stuff that I did, right? Now it went all the way back to the beginning when I hadn't typed anything. Now notice the toolbar button up at the top. Now it's got what they call a redo button. That'll go forward in time. And that is Control Y. But you can just hit this button, this redo button up at the top, and it'll just redo. It'll go. So it's like one's going backwards in time, one's going forward in time.
Just keep clicking.
Yeah. Just keep clicking, redo, 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 redo to get back to where you were. Undo is handy, but sometimes you hit it one too many times. And you're like, oh, I didn't want to undo that too. That's why they give you the redo button. So you can say, oh, I did that one too many times. I need to redo that. Whatever you undid. Whatever it is.
Oh, just read it.
So let me. Sorry, that you got the. If I go to the other arrow, will it put back in what I typed?
Yeah, and do that. I want you to do that. Go to redo and hit the redo button to redo everything that you typed in. Everything that you undid, you're going to put back. You're going to redo. But remember Control Z. Control Z undo doesn't just work in Microsoft Word. It works all over the computer. So it'll work in different applications. It'll work when you're managing files and folders. It'll work all over. Control Z will undo the last thing that you did. Really handy.
You know, it's that cursor I was doing
And then-
last week, it does that. It's a bunch of.
And then to get it back after you
I
did
got
it,
it.
say I went in my files and I went and undid everything that I asked it by mistake.
That's
I can hit Control Y and it'll redo
That's correct.
things. Okay.
That is correct.
Mm.
And if you ever forget what the shortcut key is, remember that you have a button that'll do it. And if you float your mouse over the button, it'll tell you what that shortcut key is if you forget. And that works on all the toolbar buttons up there. If it has a shortcut key, it'll tell you what it is, and it'll tell you what each one does. Now, next week when we do formatting, we're going to have to select text. Okay? Because if we wanted to make text look differently, we have to select what we want to change the formatting of first before we change the formatting of it. So what I want to do is I want to take you through a few different ways to select text. The first way is by clicking and dragging. So if I wanted to select the word jumped, for example, I can take my mouse and put it right at the beginning of the word jump, and I can click and drag to the right to select the word. See that? Now that word is selected. Do that. Click and drag to select the word jumped. Click. And then remember, clicking and dragging is when you hold the mouse button down while you move the mouse to select it like that. Click and drag the whole thing. Try it again. Do it again until you just select jump. Oh, yeah, you can. You can select more than one word.
If we want to do that whole first sentence that we wrote out, right?
You could.
Drag it right over all of it?
You could.
Okay.
So to deselect something,
Okay.
once you have something like the word jump selected here, if you wanted to deselect it so it wasn't selected anymore, clicking anywhere with your mouse cursor will unselect it. But here's a little trick. You can double click on any word to select a word. So if I just came over here and double clicked on the word brown, click, click. Oh, click, click, we'll select the word brown. Triple clicking will select the entire paragraph. So if I go click, 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 selects the whole paragraph. Double clicking on a word will select the word. Triple clicking anywhere in a paragraph will select the entire paragraph. But you know how I had you change that word fox to rabbit by you hitting the backspace key? If a word is selected, you can just type over it and it'll replace what is selected. So double click on the word brown, click to select the word brown and type in red, R-E-D, and it just replaces the word brown with red. So whatever is selected, you can just type over it and it'll get replaced. I'm going to show you again. I'm going to hit undo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the word brown, click to select it. Once it's selected, I'm just going to start typing in the word red, R-E-D, and it just replaces whatever I have selected. Double click to select the word brown, type in the word red.
On your phone, you can do it the same way like that, just tap.
Tap and hold is how it works on your phone because you don't have a mouse. All right, so tap and hold, and it'll select the word.
Then the same would change it would work.
If it's selected and you type over it on your phone, it'll replace it. And that doesn't just work in Microsoft Word. That'll work all over. Anything that is selected text-wise on an email, and you start typing over it, it'll replace it.
Now, how come when you have your click brown pop in the second sentence, but you have the O, but it didn't finish?
Oh, it's because I made it bigger so you can't see it.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I just made it larger. All right. You don't have to use the mouse to move the cursor around. You can use the arrow keys on the keyboard. You look down, you have the arrow keys, the up, down, left, right. So see where my cursor is right now, red, right at the end of the word red? You can just move that cursor around by using the arrows on the keypad, left and right.
Oh.
If you hold down the control key and move the arrows, watch what it does. I'm going to hold down the control key and I'm going to hit the right arrow. It jumps words at a time. So the control key and the left-right arrows will move that cursor one word at a time, where if you're just hitting the arrow keys, it's going to move the cursor one letter at a time. Now, if you hold down the shift key while you move the arrows, it will start selecting the text. So watch, see where my cursor is at the end of the word jumped right there? If I hold down the shift key on the keyboard and I move my arrow to the left, see what it does? It is selecting each letter. Each time I hit the arrow, it's selecting it. What do you think Control and Shift does? Both. It'll allow you to select entire words. So if I hold down the Control key and the Shift key and I hit the arrow, see what it does? It selects words at a time. Entire words. This is for when you don't want to lift your hands off the keyboard and go to the mouse. If you get used to this and you need to learn how to type fast, you can just hold down that control key, or to jump the cursor all over, you can hold down the shift key to select words. And then we're almost done here. I want to show you something else. So you don't have to do this with me. I'll just show you. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to make this bigger so you can see exactly what this looks like. Okay, so I'm going to type in the word jumped, J-U-M-P-P-E-D. Now, jumped doesn't have two P's, right? It's misspelled. So when I hit the space bar, watch what's going to happen. It automatically changed it. It'll do that to you sometimes. It's called autocorrect.
Right.
It happens to be a word that is commonly misspelled that way. And there's a dictionary built in, right? So what happens is it sees a word that is commonly misspelled that, it just changes it for you. But if I were to take my mouse, oh, it's not doing it here. There's a little box down here. Anytime it auto-corrects something, you can see there's a little box here. If I click, there's a little arrow, a little menu arrow there, and I can, it'll give me options. It'll say, change it back to jumped with 2 P's is one option. The second option says, stop automatically correcting the word jumped with 2 P's. And then the third option is go to my autocorrect options, and you can change your autocorrect options. So why would you want it to stop automatically correcting the word jumped with 2 P's? Well, with jumped, you probably don't want it to stop. But my last name is a weird East Chicago Hungarian name. Ashbach. A-C-S-B-O-K. That's letters that don't normally appear in English, right? It's weird. It's pronounced Ash. It's a Hungarian thing. So what was happening with Word for me is I would type in my last name, Ashbach, and it would automatically change it to Facebook. Because it didn't see a word in the dictionary, right? So what I did is I typed in my name, and I hit this autocorrect, and I said, stop autocorrecting my name to Facebook. It's my name. I could go into autocorrect options, and you can add it to the dictionary. There's a dictionary in there, and that's nice if there is a word that it keeps changing or keeps underlining. Because watch, if I just say change this back to jump with 2 P's, it underlines it in red. And what it's telling you is, I think that's a misspelled word. When you see anything underlined in red, it's spell check. And it automatically runs all the time. So now if I were to right click on a word underlined in red, remember what the right mouse button does? Only one thing. If you use the right mouse button to click on something, it gives you a menu specific to where you clicked. Now, if I right click on a word that's underlined in red, it's going to give me options. It's going to say, hey, did you mean jumped with 1 P? And it tells you the definition, hop, started, skipped, or did you want the word jumped with an S? It's giving you suggestions, and you can just choose it here, and it'll replace the word. But also, see where it says add to dictionary?
Oh.
This is where you can, so like my last name, Ashbach, it's going to underline it in red. And I can right click and I can say, add this to the dictionary. And then even if I accidentally misspell my own name, it will then show up as a suggestion. As, oh, did you mean Ashbach? Were you trying to type in your own name and your fat fingers did it wrong? That's what it would do. And you could say ignore all. So if you had, because what's going to happen, if you had a long document and I had my name in there 5 times, it would underline all 5 names, telling me it's misspelled. If I just choose ignore all from the right click menu, it'll stop underlining all those things. So I'm going to choose jumped. I'm going to say, no, yeah, replace this with the right spelling of the word jumped. And when I click on it, it just replaces it. Sometimes you'll see things underlined in green or blue. What was that, Sam? What was it? Blue underlined for the grammar check? Yeah. Oftentimes, like, you'll see this happen sometimes too. And our brains don't always notice that we accidentally have a word duplicated. Okay. Oh, it's not doing. Okay, there it is. So I hit the enter key. So now what it did, see, it underlined in blue here. I typed in the word the twice accidentally. It's telling me this is a grammar check. It's saying, well, we think the grammar's wrong. It may not be wrong. It sometimes will underline it in blue when you wanted it to be that way.
You could have stuck a comma in between, right?
Well,
You do that?
it
I mean,
still doesn't make sense, but yeah, maybe. But see, if I right click on this, it'll still suggest it. It'll say, using only one of these words is better here. Is what it's saying. Like you've got and then the options here is ignore once, go to my options for grammar, or don't check for this issue ever again. Right. And then it also gives me the suggestion of just using the once. And if I chose that from the menu, then it just takes the second one away. Okay. So basically that's what part one was kind of designed to do. We're trying to give you an idea of how it's laid out with a ribbon interface. Okay. And you change those toolbars up top. And I wanted you to get used to the keyboard and typing in a sentence and getting used to moving your cursor around using the arrow keys or the mouse. Next week, what we're going to do is we're going to start with a pre-typed document. And then we're going to format it, and we're going to add pictures to it, and we're going to make it a little bit more fancier of a document next week. We're going to get a little bit more into making a document look the way we want it to look. No, I don't have a printer in here. It's not going to be that exciting to print out it.
Done it for the very first time.
Well, good. Well, maybe we'll figure that out then. We'll print that out for you. So that's all I have for today. Not next week. I keep saying next week. We're closed next week. It's 2 weeks from today, December 5th. Same place, same time. We'll do part 2, and we'll start formatting our Word document. And then after that, we'll get into spreadsheets, and then it gets really fun. How good are you guys at math?
No comments.
Yeah,
Say the third document.
right.
I'm
Okay.
I'm learning something. It's just like, oh, okay.
Okay. And so that's all we got for today. Thank you so much for coming, and have a lovely Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have a nice holiday. Thank you. And Sam, would you do me a favor? Last week, they didn't want to show a movie in youth services. Can you run over there and see if they need this? Thank you.
Well, I'm trying to get out of it. My day.
You can just leave it. We'll get you out of there.
Okay.
Because we got to set it up for next week anyway with an example file.
He's asking me, I want to take it to the doctor. I can't.
That's fine.
I could actually put some save, right?
You can just leave it. We'll take care of it.
So,